I'm Gavin, and this is MLS Fantasy Picks. Before we get into round 13 picks, here's a quick round 12 recap. Not a bad week. I ended with 84 points for round 12. I had a week rank of 1,679, and my overall rank is now 77. My budget increased and is now $153.4 million. What went right? I was pleased with my forwards and my midfield players. Bouanga was the look, and all of my midfield hit. It was great to see Lucho continue to perform even while away. And what went wrong? My keepers and defense this week. This is where you can probably separate yourself from the pack if you get those clean sheets. My Red Bull clean sheet failed early, so I swapped to what I thought was a safe St. Louis play. And then they let in a goal to Chicago. Oh well, it was fine getting a 4 off the bench, and it was good to see Wagner get a 6. Also, I would call out my poor captain pick, but I'm pretty sure everyone right now is captaining Messi. Now let's take a look at the MLS Fantasy Picks leagues. Looking at the MLS Fantasy Picks Open League, shout out to Atletico JT 2023. A great score of 106 this week. Not the standard team, but captaining Lucho and starting Benteke was definitely the move. Don't forget to join the league if you haven't yet, link is in the description below. And looking at the head-to-head league, we are down to 4 undefeated teams out of the 100 teams in the league. It's definitely getting close. I barely scraped by this past week playing Real Franconia. It was a very close victory of 84-81. Well played. Alright, let's get into round 13. Some key considerations for the round. It's finally a double game week. Been waiting on this for a while. Also, there are no teams on a bye this week, and be sure to keep an eye out for injuries, reds, and yellow cards. Be sure to check out that MLS disciplinary summary and the injury report for the next match day. MLS usually puts it out. Alright, so for the double game week, this is a very fun part of MLS Fantasy. The way it works is, if your player has 2 games for the MLS Fantasy Round, both of those scores will be added up and will count towards your MLS Fantasy score. So for these double game weeks, I usually recommend an auto-roo approach. If you haven't watched that video, I put together a quick 4-minute video outlining how to set up an auto-roo. Also, for double game weeks, I highly recommend only picking double game week players, especially a double game week like this one, where basically every team is on a double game week. We'll also have double game weeks where only some teams will be on a double game week, so the strategy can vary. Also, when I walk through my picks for this video, I'll call out if they're either a double home, meaning they have 2 home games, a split, meaning they'll have 1 home game, 1 away game, or a double away player. So obviously double home is the best look, and then a split, 1 home, 1 away, and then double away. So for players that have double away, usually need to have a solid floor if I end up picking them. Another note this week, be careful for players that are on yellow card watch. So players of note this week are Lucho and Chicho. So that means, say for the first game on Wednesday, if either of them get a yellow card, they won't be able to play on the next round of games for Saturday. So they're really only a single game week player. So for these scenarios, I usually bench those players as they're both very good. I'm pretty sure they're both home this week. So it's kind of hard to pass up missing them, but I definitely want to put them on my bench for double game week. Okay, enough of that spiel. Let's get into my picks. All right, so looking at keepers, first up, I've got Mr. Celentano premium price point. He's got a double home this week. So I like Celentano. I think he has the early game. I may be looking at him. There's not a lot of good keeperoo options. Maybe look at him on the front end of a keeperoo as he's early. If they lose the clean sheet early, swap in, for another keeper with a double game week. So up next, I've got Stuver with the double home with Austin. It's hard to believe Austin have been getting some clean sheets. So Stuver may not be a terrible look this week, especially since I don't really like too many keepers. He gets a lot of saves because Austin aren't great. And yeah, I think Stuver's a fine look this week. Another keeper I like is McMath with the double home. So one option I may look at is Celentano on the front end of a keeperoo and then looking at McMath on the back end. I like that. Then I've also got Steve Clark. Houston don't let in a ton of goals, so they have been slipping recently. He's a split this week, so 1 home, 1 away. And then Kalina with the budget option. He's also got a split. Charlotte have been looking pretty good. So yeah, I think Kalina is also a decent option for a keeper this week. And looking at defenders, getting things started. Premium, Kai Wagner. Philly's got a split this week. I like Wagner. He put up a 6 last week, even without the clean sheet. So I think Wagner's one. He's on set pieces. He's dangerous on the attack. I think Wagner will be a popular option this week. Another more expensive option, but all reliable, is Justin Glad. I feel like the only chances he'll get to score is off of a corner or a set piece of some kind. But yeah, they've got the double home. I think Glad's a decent shout this week. You'll notice, a lot of my defenders are similar to my keepers. So I've got Mikael from Houston. So Houston's got the split this week. And if you watch my auto-roo video, you'll probably notice it's pretty standard to scrub 2 defenders, especially on a double game week with a lot of chance for scoring. So I'm probably only going to recommend, at least 3 defenders tops this week, and then you want to scrub your other 2 on the field. So I think this is a pretty decent option. Wagner, Glad, or someone else from Real Salt Lake, and a Houston Dynamo player. Like I said, another Real Salt Lake player could be Anelli. He's in that center defensive midi role, but listed as a defender in the game. So he's a good option, but doesn't have too many attacking chances. Next up, bit of a flyer pick, but why not have some fun with it? I've got Gallagher from Austin. They have been getting clean sheets, and Gallagher, I've seen him rip a couple shots here and there. Why not look at an Austin defender this week? And also, I've got Miazga with the double home. So Cincinnati, like I said, with their keeper, Miazga could be a decent option, center back. And, Cincinnati's defense is pretty decent. And you've got more of a budget option here with Malanda, like I called out with Charlotte. They're looking better defensively, and I like Malanda. Started with midfield, premium looks, Lucho Acosta, double home. Like I said, though, he's on yellow card watch, so I'll probably be putting him on my bench. I do like Ricky Puig this week. He's a bit expensive, but you saw him put up some pretty strong numbers last week. He is double away, so a bit more risky, but that Galaxy attack, still looking strong. And I've also got Espinoza here. I think he'll be a popular pick as well. San Jose have the split, so 1 home, 1 away. SB's been looking strong, especially with some new additions to that San Jose attack. I've put Evander up here. He did sub in last week, it looked like. Portland have the split. And, Evander was such a reliable fantasy player. It's hard to forget about him. So I still like Evander this week. And then I've also got Robin Lod with the double home. I started Lod a few weeks back, and he did pretty well for me. I think not a lot of players will pick him as he's not one normally look to. But Lod could put up some big numbers this week, especially having a double home matchup. Another popular pick this week will probably be Mukhtar. He did hit for me when I picked him up, but I don't think he did super great last week. So they do have the double home, so plenty of good chances here for Mukhtar in Nashville. Bit of a flyer pick here probably. I've got Gazdag. He unfortunately missed his first PK in the MLS last week, but it had to happen eventually. It's my homer pick. I like Gazdag. They have some good matchups. And I've also got Amin Bassi. I was curious how Bassi would end up doing after Herrera rejoined, but just looking at his past couple of weeks, he's still putting up plenty of great bonus points, and I feel like Hector Herrera joining the team back is only going to help Bassi's, point generation. And looking at budget, it's hard to think our old Driussi from 2022 is in the budget area, but Driussi is double home with Austin, and he is their creator. Still hard to bet on Austin, but if you need a budget pick, Driussi could be a good look. Another fun homer pick, I've got Quinn Sullivan. He's up and down the wing. He's generating attacking chances. I like Sullivan this week. And can't forget about Hector Herrera. He's still pretty cheap. He just joined or started playing again. And Houston with the split, I like Herrera this week. And finishing off with forwards, I've got Mr. Messi. Who can forget Lionel Messi? I'm pretty sure everyone's starting him, so you have to start him too. Yes, that's not a great part of fantasy this year, but it's just part of the game. You could also look at Suarez, but that's a lot of Miami. I've also got Chicho. He's got a split. I also forgot to mention Messi. They've got that home away split. Chicho, he's on yellow card watch, so if he gets another yellow that first game, he won't play the second, so a bit of a risk, but also a very good bench play this week. I think I said he was a split, but he is a double home, so even more reason to pick up Chicho. Then I've got Benteke. Yes, he put up a hat trick last week. He is split this week, 1 home, 1 away. I like him this week. But yeah, are we just chasing that hat trick from last week? Who knows? It's hard to tell. When Benteke hits, he hits, but he can also put up, some twos here and there as well. And then moving on to standard pricing, I've got Cucho. He didn't put up superb numbers last week, but we're still talking Cucho Hernandez, the playmaker for the Columbus Crew, one of the best teams in the league. They are a double away, so not as good of a look for the double game week, but Cucho is still a strong pick this week. And then I've also got Klaus. Klaus put up good numbers last week. They've got the split 1 home, 1 away. However, I'm not a huge fan of his matchups this week, so he could be a decent option, but I do like the other strikers this week. And then looking at budget options, I've got, Dunk, Big Dunk, Mr. McGuire here. He's known to get a goal or two. And yeah, they're split 1 home, 1 away. He's got some decent matchups. I'm sure he could put away, some goals this week. Could be a good option if you're looking to save some money. And then I call out Aliyu quite a bit, and he's still putting up points. Another good option with the split here. You've got Aliyu at Houston for Houston. Then another fun one is Amal Pellegrino. The Quakes, they're buzzing. They're looking a bit better. They've got some more, options on the attack, and Pellegrino's starting to score, and he will not break your budget. This segment of captains felt a little bit more helpful last year before Messi was, a huge part of the league. But, I got to say it, you should probably captain Messi since he's breaking records week in, week out. Yes, he didn't put up a great performance last week, but, a lot of people captain him, so if you did too, you probably weren't hurting too bad. But if you're not looking to captain the greatest player of all time, you could also look at Christian Espinoza or Ricky Puig. All right, so that wraps it up for this week. Good luck, everyone. Feel free to, drop any questions or comments you have about the double game week below. I'll be happy to answer them. Really excited to get this double game week going, and yeah, good luck all.